Lake Okanagan has held its secrets. The water runs deep, more than 800 feet in some places, and old legends say that in those depths, something moves, something ancient, something that has watched for longer than any man can remember. They call it Ogopogo, a creature of the abyss, a serpent of legend, a thing that should not exist, and yet it does. Some say it's a myth, a trick of the water, a fisherman's tale spun too many times, but others, they have seen it. And those who have, they never forget. The stories of Ogopogo are not new. They stretch back centuries, long before the first settlers, before the towns and roads, before history was ever written down. The indigenous Silk people told of Nha-a-Idk, the lake creature, a powerful spirit that ruled the waters. It was no gentle guardian. It was feared. It was hungry. Those who wished to cross the lake offered sacrifices, small animals, fish, something to appease the creature lurking below. They knew what happened to those who did not. The first European settlers dismissed it as superstition until they saw it themselves. In 1872, a rancher named John McDougall was crossing the lake with his horses. Halfway across, the water erupted. Something massive moved beneath them. The horses panicked. They struggled, thrashed, then vanished beneath the surface. John made it to shore, but he was never the same. He swore there was something in the lake, something that had taken his horses. A serpent, longer than a boat, with dark, slick skin and a head that rose above the waves like a monster from the deep. More stories followed. A ferry captain in 1926 claimed he saw a 20-foot-long shape moving just beneath his boat. Fishermen reported huge wakes with no boats nearby. Swimmers described dark shadows passing underneath them in the water. The legend was growing, but in 1968, things would change. It was a quiet day on the lake. Art Folden, a local man, was driving along the shore near Mission Beach when he noticed something strange, a large, dark shape moving just beneath the surface, faster than any boat. It cut through the water with purpose, controlled, deliberate. Art pulled out his camera. He snapped the first ever photograph of what would become the most famous lake monster in Canada. The image was grainy, unclear, but it showed something, a long, serpentine shape, a disturbance in the water. It was the first real evidence that Ogopogo was more than just a legend. Skeptics were quick to dismiss it. A log, a wave pattern, a school of fish breaking the surface. But Lake Okanagan is not just any lake. It is one of the deepest in North America, stretching over 135 kilometers long and dropping to depths where the sun never reaches. And it is old, over 60 million years old. In its depths, creatures live that no one has ever seen. Fish older than the dinosaurs, eels that have never come to the surface. Could Ogopogo be one of them? Marine biologists suggest a possible explanation: a giant sturgeon. Some sturgeons grow to over 20 feet long, their prehistoric bodies looking like something out of a nightmare. Could that be the answer? But the problem is sturgeons don't move the way people describe. Sturgeons don't rise out of the water. Sturgeons don't chase boats or leave wakes bigger than ferries. And sturgeons don't explain the sounds. In 2009, a research team used sonar technology to scan the depths of Lake Okanagan. They weren't looking for Ogopogo, but what they found shook them. Beneath the water, they detected something enormous, something moving, and then came the sounds. A low-frequency hum, almost a growl, rhythmic, pulsing. It echoed through the sonar equipment, repeating in a way that suggested it was coming from something alive, but no known creature in the lake could produce it. Whatever it was down there, and it was moving. Not all encounters are from a distance. Some have been closer. In 1989, two teenagers swimming near Ellison Park felt something massive brush against their legs. They thought it was driftwood until it moved. It passed under them, rippling the surface. A dark shadow stretching at least 30 feet long. They ran from the water, but when they turned back, the shadow was gone. In 2011, a kayaker near Rattlesnake Island saw a long, serpent-like shape just beneath the surface. It followed him, keeping pace. He paddled faster. It kept up. Then suddenly, it dove. A massive whirlpool of water spiraled where it had been. He never kayaked there again. What did they see? A log? A fish? Or something that has lived in the lake for thousands of years? The legend of Ogopogo is not fading. More sightings, more evidence, more questions. Skeptics say it's nothing, but the witnesses, those who have seen the dark shape moving beneath the water, those who have heard the hum from the deep, they know better. Maybe Ogopogo is real. Maybe it's something ancient, something forgotten, or maybe it's waiting. If you ever find yourself standing on the shores of Lake Okanagan, if you see the water ripple when there is no wind, if you hear a sound that does not belong, you might not be alone. Something is out there, and it's watching. Do you believe in Ogopogo? Have you ever seen something you couldn't explain? Let us know in the comments. And if you love mysteries like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because some stories are still waiting to be uncovered.